how do I find GITEX? Well, GITEX is an incredible place to promote yourself, to promote your company around with people coming from all the planet. You have about 140 countries actually shipping people here. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. 100,000 visitors, and you have about 5,000 exhibitors. I mean, I don't know if you can see what's going on around right now, but it's a lot of people, and this is why we're here. Actually, I have a second job other than the CEO of MACA, which is CEO of International Boost. And as you can see, all those booths behind me, which are the French delegation, 64 companies, I was able to bring into GITEX because I believe this is the best place on the planet for them to promote their innovation. Well, MACA started about 4 years ago, and when we started, we thought there were two options. The first one would be the sports. This is why we started in the sports. The second one would be public transportation. Actually, in the VTOL market, you have more than about 300 projects that are going on. And on those 300, maybe 4 or 5 of them in the sports. Now, in order to actually fly these vehicles, which we saw here was supposed to happen, which did not happen, and if it not happened because it's certification problems, and actually 80% of those VTOL products are not going to fly because of that problem. If you go to sports, since we're actually running in an arena, in a closed arena, with not flying over people, then we don't have the same problem of certification for the VTOL. So we can make it happen now, with just what we call a permit to fly, and the project flies on its own, if I can say so, very, very quickly. So that's the reason we went into sports. The second reason is, if you look at the motorsports today, like Formula One, for example, which we know who's now the champion, right, for this year, well, all the technology around Formula One and other motorsports have been adopted after that in normal vehicles. So our goal is to test all the technologies in the next 3 years to make sure they're safe and sound, and they're the best technology ever to be implemented in future transportation products that are going to be for main public, in the future. If you come to MACA, we have so many advantages today compared to our competitors. The first one, and the most important one, is we have Red Bull Advanced Technologies as a partner. As you know, in extreme sports, there's one brand that stands out of the rest, and that's Red Bull. So when they contacted us and say, hey, you know what, we'd like to partner with you, we said, wow, this is an incredible opportunity, and we'd love to do that. And there's only one company on the planet that's going to have this opportunity, and that's MACA. So that's the first big advantage. The second big advantage is technology advantage, because we're running out of hydrogen. And basically, if you look at autonomy of those vehicles, if you look only electric, the autonomy of such vehicle would be between 5 and 10 minutes. Whereas with hydrogen, it's going to be double or triple that amount. So if we can run about 30 minutes around the track race and refuel in a few seconds for another 30 and another 30, then you have a real championship. Whereas if you're going to run for 5 or 10 minutes, it's going to be way more complicated. And the third and final big advantage, we were talking earlier about certification. Well, certification, like I said, is key in everything that has to do with aeronautics, okay? You can't fly if you're not certified. We have a great partner for certification, which has been the person who was the head of certification in French DGAC. It's actually the General Aviation Authority. And he knows everybody, not only in France, but in Europe and in the States, which makes us more able to get certification very, very quickly than any other company around. This is the third real big advantage, I think, for MACA. So the state of development so far is when we started the company, we actually were able to do a third scale product in about 1.5 years. It had to be certified by, in France, a government authority that's called ONERA, and it has to certify this is a flyable vehicle, let's put it that way, right? And it could be certified in the future, which is the most important part. So basically when we started the process, it took a while, and it took another 1.5 years basically to get to that point, so it takes 3 years altogether. When we had the final agreement, we started building the full-scale demonstrator, which we're doing now. So right now, all the technology is in place, and we have all the partners in place as well, like Red Bull Advanced Technologies and others. And we count on putting everything together by the end of the year or early 2023, so we can be present at Le Bourget. I don't know if you know this show. This is the biggest air show on the planet. So we can be at Le Bourget in June of 2023. Well, I'm going to guess you one big thing that all the startups have as a priority is getting funded. Let's put it that way. So we have all the technology, we have a great team, we have everything in place. All we need right now is between 500k euros to 1 million euros, which can be funded again in France through grants and subsidies that can double or triple this amount. So let's say I get an investor that puts in 1 million, I can get 2 extra million from French authorities and French bank system to help me put all those 3 millions together. And with that cash, I can make the first, what we call demonstrator, and then also a mock-up of the project. And I put this with a friend who actually owns Aero Auto, okay, in Miami, and in the US and in China. And this mock-up is going to represent our brand. This is where we can find also the people who are enthusiastic about motorsports and are going to pre-buy, we're going to do pre-sales of the projects. And this is going to happen by mid next year. So this is where the next steps are for the project as we speak. We're looking for technology partners in terms of hydrogen and security. Everything that has to do with radars, LiDARs, things like that, that can make it the product much safer than it is today. And then the second type of partners is the ones that can help us basically bring a lot of, for example, create a board of directors and people like that are going to help us basically make it an international company very quickly and get the funding we need and install bases in all continents. So right now we are in France, which is the European continent. We have a partner in Kuala Lumpur, which is going to set up for the Asian continent. And we have a partner in the US. So we're already like pretty broad. But if we get other partners all around the world that help us basically bring the brand awareness, this is really going to be very important for us. Red Bull, of course, is everywhere on the planet. So I think this is going to help also bring a lot of attention to the project altogether.